Yeah, it's Wrestling Uncensored. Tonight on the show, we are previewing WWE's Elimination Chamber. We're recapping SmackDown. We're watching AEW Rampage. It's Wrestling Uncensored time. Yeet! Yeah, Johnny. Johnny, yeet.
I hear you, Dave. I hear you.
Yeet.
I ain't eating you. I'm not in a... It's been a great week. I don't know about you. It's been a crummy week, I find.
Like, personally, in pro wrestling, what do you mean?
Well, you probably heard about the tragedy that happened in Laval, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about you. That was just horrible.
Well, yeah, you want to open up the show on a terribly sad note, John. I mean, god damn, pal. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that really,
Yeah.
It kind of messed me up a little bit, hearing stuff like that. It's terrible.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm sure you would relate more to it than I would, actually. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's why I don't really want to talk about it, because it kind of bums me out and takes me out of the,
I know.
Like, it's there. I know it happened. It was horrible. But I've got little kids that are, daycare and school age. So the thought of them, I don't want to think about it or talk about it because, you're going to get me emotional here, John. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for wrestling talk. But yeah, obviously, our thoughts are there. Like you hear that thoughts and prayers and everything, but it's true. Like, yeah, we're watching wrestling, we're doing all this thing, but when something like that, like the tragedy that happened in Laval happened, our thoughts are for sure there. You can't avoid it. But I think that our show and pro wrestling in general provides a nice distraction from the horrors of life. I think that there are some terrible things that go on in life. Like when COVID was going on, I made it a point not to say COVID doesn't exist anymore. Like, it's obviously still a thing, but, we're not in the deep pandemic, right? The depth of the fear, right? And when it was going on, like, I made a point to try and not talk about it, because it's such a bummer. It's like, let's not, everybody's going to be talking about this stuff. And clearly we're feeling it. Clearly we're thinking about it. But everybody's thinking about it, and I'm here to do a show about pro wrestling to kind of distract people from the sadness that can come all over the place, right?
It's what we try to do, But, I just had to let you know how I felt about the situation. Just, it's really, it's very distracting. It's been tough to watch wrestling because, it's in the back of your mind the whole time. I find, for me anyways.
I'm trying not to think about it. It's a freak occurrence. It's a horrible thing, but yeah. Shout out to Doug Hepburn tuning in tonight. One of the members of the team. Go to join.ringsidereport.net if you have not already. Join.ringsidereport.net. We're watching AEW Rampage right now. Wow. What?
A lot of Facebook stuff popping up, it seems, on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, it was happening last night, too. AJ's done something.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seems like someone did something.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
I think.
It's fine, I think. We're going to preview Elimination Chamber here tonight. We will be at Elimination Chamber next Saturday. It'll cool off, John. Don't worry. Just ignore it. Just keep going.
Eventually?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to be at the Elimination Chamber next Saturday. So we will be at SmackDown on Friday. So we won't be able to do a show next Friday night, right?
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
It'd be late. I don't think people would want to watch that.
It would be way too late. Like, by the time we get back home from SmackDown, it'll be way too late to come on and do a show. Like, we won't be able to come on right after SmackDown as we do every Friday night because we'll be actually in the building for SmackDown.
Right.
So we're going to do the Elimination Chamber preview here tonight. And then we normally do a post-show for the pay-per-views, right? Like all the pay-per-views, the WWE premium live events, as they're called now. We come on after all of those and do a review. But since we'll be at the Chamber again in the building, because it'll be in our hometown here, we're not going to be doing a post-show for that pay-per-view. So what we'll do instead next week is we'll do a weekend recap, as you're seeing on the bottom of the screen, kind of spoiling my announcement, which is totally fine.
It's good timing.
No, it's timing. Perfect. We're going to be on next Sunday at 10 a.m. So we'll do a little bit of a breakfast with the boys. It'll be a Sunday morning show after we have attended the SmackDown and Elimination Chamber events. So we'll go to both of the shows, and then on Sunday morning we'll review the shows and talk about our experiences at both live WWE TV shows. So that'll be fun, right? Because I figured, we can't do shows after the events because we'll be in the building and it'll be a little tough. But we can do something on Sunday. We can do something on Sunday morning for the Ringside Report universe for the network. So we will be here next Sunday morning after the Chamber to recap the Chamber and SmackDown and everything that went down. We're going to preview the Elimination Chamber here tonight. Shout out to Matthew Henley, who says they're doing a superstore in Montreal for the Chamber Thursday through Friday. Yeah, there's going to be a some kind of superstore, I think, at the Bell Center, but also at a mall downtown. I don't have all the details with that, but you can find out, I'm sure. If you want to go to the store, they're selling T-shirts. They're going to have some meet and greets, I think. I heard Sami Zayn is going to be there. Shout out AJ.
Why?
AJ watching the show. Danny Brook Media. It's just AJ DeLessio. It's another one of his aliases. AJ wants to go to the Superstore because he's a nerd. I mean, no offense. I mean, if you want to go to the Superstore, I'm just calling AJ a nerd. AJ doesn't really want to go to the Superstore. It's just something he's saying. You bring up an event to AJ, he's like, let's go. It's like, you don't really want to go, do you? I don't think I'm going to go to the Superstore because it's just a store where they're selling wrestling shirts. So, I mean, I'm good. And I don't need to stand in line to meet Madcap Moss or whatever the hell they got. You know what I mean? I don't care. Sami Zayn or whoever, like whatever.
Yeah, I was going to say the lineup I think is a little bit different than Madcap Moss, but yeah, I'm not too big to go in the store either, but I will see AJ this Sunday.
Is Stone Cold there? Because if not, I'm not going.
I want to say Liv Morgan. I'm pretty sure I think I saw that name pop up.
Ooh.
Maybe Bianca Belair as well.
Uh-huh.
Does that make sense? Kevin would make sense too.
Uh-huh.
Maybe you just show up and you get surprises. Who knows?
Yeah. There's nobody in the WWE I'd stand in line for. Put it that way.
Brock? But Brock wouldn't do it, though.
Even Brock. I don't think I'm standing in line to get a Brock Lesnar autograph. He doesn't want to be there. I don't want to be there. What are we doing here? You know? I don't know. Yeah. I've been too close to some of these people, like, throughout the years. I've met so many of these people throughout the years that at this point, I'm not standing in line to meet anybody, I don't think. You know?
I'll actually see AJ at Sunday, though, for the Super Bowl. Not at the store, though. I'll see him this Sunday. That'll be fun.
What?
I haven't seen him for the Super Bowl. Yeah. Like, last time the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, we watched it together. So it's going to be fun. We're going to watch the Super Bowl again together this Sunday. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Wow. You're going to watch the Super Bowl at AJ's house?
Yeah, he didn't invite you. I'm surprised. I thought he was going to make a thing of it. I mean, you're seeing him tomorrow, no?
No, AJ invited me. I declined the invitation.
Oh, you declined. Okay, I see.
Yeah. I had previous plans for the Super Bowl.
Ah.
I'm going to the annual Rollsy Face Super Bowl party. It's a Super Bowl party I go to every year. You can't miss it. You can't miss the Rollsy Face party. The guy cooks some tremendous wings and all sorts of stuff. So
is he still banned from ringside or not, or has that been lifted?
Yeah.
Oh, he's still banned. Wow, it's a lifetime ban.
Yeah. Rollsy Face is banned from the Ringside Report Network, but he's not banned from my life. You know, he's one of my best friends. Been friends with Rollsy Face for over 20 years now. You know, we're good buddies. More than that, like 25 years or something like that. It's been a long time. I'm old.
I like Rolls. He's a nice guy.
Yeah,
I get along with him.
Yeah, he's a good man.
He went too far, unfortunately, one night, but you know, things happen.
Yeah,
lifetime ban seems kind of extreme, but it's not my choice.
It's for the best.
Not my decision.
It's for his benefit more than anything. Yes. Will we see Trish Stratus come back for Elimination Chamber? Matthew Lincoln on Facebook asking. I don't think so. I don't think we'll see Trish come back at the Chamber.
Well, I saw someone put a graphic out there. I don't know if you saw it. Once that match, Becky, Lita, Trish against all Damage Control.
At the Chamber, though?
I mean, you know, Trish is from Toronto. It's not that far away.
Yeah.
They could get her. It's not impossible. It just seems like out of nowhere. And, like, as much as I would love it, because, like, Elimination Chamber is already a pretty good card, that would make it, like, almost like WrestleMania-esque, almost, the way they're building this card, it seems. Like, if you get Trish for this, like, but you'll get Trish for this, but not WrestleMania, that seems extremely weird. So that's why I don't think we'd get Trish. If anything, maybe we get Becky and Lita against Damage Control for the tag titles.
Against Dakota and Io, you're saying? Yeah.
Well, can Dakota wrestle? Because she was, like, on crutches, right? Or I don't know if there's an injury or something, but maybe Bayley can defend the titles with Sky, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, they haven't really done that rule, though, right? It hasn't been Freebird rule with the tag titles. But I'm with you as far as the Trish and Lita thing. I've been hearing rumors of Trish coming back. We saw Lita come back this week on Raw to help Becky Lynch against Damage Control in the Steel Cage match, help Becky win that Steel Cage match there against Bayley. But I'd be real surprised if they threw Trish in on Monday and then set up a six-person tag for Elimination Chamber all of a sudden. I'd be surprised. I'd be very excited because I've got tickets for the Chamber, so that'd be amazing. But I feel like that's a WrestleMania match. Trish and Lita and Becky Lynch as a team against Damage Control, I feel like that's Mania. But maybe not.
Also, like, less than a week's build, you're going to have Lita and Trish. Like, I'm not saying, like, it's a bad idea. It's a great idea, but it's very surprising. WWE loves to, like, advertise this and, like, promote it like crazy all the time that this is happening. This gives them less than a week, and you still have to set it up with Trish. Trish would have to be on Raw this week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a great dream scenario, and, like, it'd be fantastic if it happened. I'm not against it whatsoever. I just highly doubtful they'd go in that direction. It's amazing we got Lita just out of nowhere. It kind of didn't make any sense, but she's a star, so whatever. Like, Becky needed help. That's fine. And if we just get that tag match, that's more than okay, I think, for Elimination Chamber. Get the tag titles on Becky and Lita.
But again, like, I don't know how that works. Because Becky has been feuding with Bayley. Bayley's not one of the tag team champions. One of the tag team champions seems hurt. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if we see any of them at the Chamber, is what I'm saying. I don't think we see any of them.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's possible.
I think we wait.
Yeah.
I think we wait. But, you know, you never know. You never know. They're making this card pretty good. Last week I was sitting here talking to you, and I was not too impressed with the Elimination Chamber card, but they have added 2 matches this week that have made it far more interesting. And it's a 5-match card right now. I could see them adding 1 or 2 more matches. Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility that Trish does show up on Monday in Brooklyn for Raw and sets up a 6-person tag. I think they could do that. They could add another match or two to this card. But what they added this week was fantastic. Edge and Beth Phoenix together to take on Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. That's a match for me. That's great.
That's WrestleMania S2 right there. Like, you kind of thought it was going towards that anyways. But they kind of have to do it now because Rhea's busy at WrestleMania. So we're getting it early. So this is great for us. And that's just like a minor match on a pretty stacked card. So that's pretty good for Elimination Chamber today or next Saturday.
It's a huge match because, first of all, it's Edge, who's a gigantic star. Edge in Canada. I think the last time Edge wrestled in Montreal was probably... I'm going to say it might have been against Chris Benoit at a house show.
I wanted to say, wow, that's pretty good. I was going to say, like, when him and Benoit lost the tag titles to La Resistance, but that's even maybe further back, so maybe you're right about that.
Yeah. Because I think it was Edge is the world champion. This was a great house show. Edge was the world champion. They did a battle royal.
Oh, yeah, the battle royal.
Yeah, the battle royal to start the show with the winner getting a shot at Edge and the world title in the main event. And the battle royal was stacked. They had like Khali and Randy Orton and a lot of stars in the battle royal. And Benoit was one of them. But we didn't really figure Benoit would win. And then Benoit wound up winning. And we were pretty hyped at the time because Benoit hadn't murdered anyone at that point. So he was still beloved. And he was a Canadian wrestler, and Edge was a Canadian wrestler, and they had this great match at the house show. I feel like that might have been Edge's last match in Montreal, which is a long time ago.
Well, it's before he retired, so yes, of course.
Yeah. So this is massive. And Beth Phoenix, she doesn't wrestle. You know? She never wrestles. I mean, from time to time, but she's basically a part-timer, never shows up type of thing. So to see Beth Phoenix...
She's done Rumble appearances, I think. That's about it, I think, Beth.
Yeah. When's the last time she wrestled a match? It was with Edge, no? Didn't she team up with Edge to face somebody?
Miz and Maurice? Like it's just been... Did they do that match? Yeah, you're right. I think maybe it was at last year's Rumble, actually.
Was that last year's Rumble?
I think it's possible. It feels like it was. It was a little before WrestleMania, because you thought maybe a WrestleMania match, but I think it happened at the Rumble.
No, it was at the Rumble last year.
So
that was the last time she wrestled a match against Miz and Maurice. Look at us piecing that together. I was like, when's the last time she wrestled? Miz and Maurice? And you're like, oh, yeah. And it was at the Rumble. It's teamwork, John. Teamwork. But we don't see Beth very much, you know, and Beth is a Hall of Famer. Beth is a legend. Edge is a Hall of Famer. The fact that we got this match.
Too.
What?
Well, she's a mom, too. 2 kids. Takes her time away, so we're lucky we get her now.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with her wrestling accolades. I'm talking about her being in a Hall of Fame and being a great wrestler. Her being a mom has nothing to do with being a great wrestler.
I mean, her time, us getting to see her on TV. I think that's it. You know, she'd rather be a mom than a wrestler.
Yeah. Although sometimes you need a break from being a mom, you want to go be a wrestler. Might be easier sometimes. Let me tell you. Edge and Beth Phoenix against Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley in that mixed tag match. Fantastic mixed tag match. I wonder, though, do they have Rhea lose a big match going into WrestleMania? But I don't see Edge and Beth losing this one. I guess Finn takes the fall, and Rhea kind of loses but doesn't really lose. That's how I see that match playing out.
here's the thing. It's like you said, like Rhea shouldn't lose on the way to Mania. And like I feel like Edge and Finn, it's not done here. So why can't Rhea just pin Beth? Like to me, that makes a lot of sense right there. If you're pushing Rhea to the championship, she should get the win right here. Beth's putting her over in a sense.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. I don't know. I can't imagine Edge and Beth losing together. You know, it's a tag team that's not often together. I figure they'd win their matches, but I think Edge and Finn probably does continue. And it would be a good way to have it continue by having Rhea beat Beth so that Edge still hasn't got the win back. Okay.
Here's another
Makes
thing.
sense.
Here's another thing, though, to consider, though. How many Canadians are going to win in Montreal? Because I don't know about you, I'm thinking like all Canadians are losing, actually.
Yeah.
So maybe you do want Edge to win. It's a very tough match, this one, actually, when you think about it.
Unless that's why they're bringing Trish in, just to get a Canadian on a team that wins.
I don't know. I don't think they care that much about that. I think just put Canadians on, people be nice, and then, just screw them over. They're used to it.
Oh, man. If all the Canadians lose, that'd be rough. Well, how about one Canadian that's going to win? Brock Lesnar. He's Canadian. Although he sounded like he was from the southern United States on Monday night. What the hell was that Cowboy Brock promo? Brock is from North Dakota. Right? Spends a lot of his time in Minnesota.
Well, he's living in Saskatchewan right now.
Lives in Saskatchewan. Why does he have a southern accent? Why is he talking like this, y'all? It's like it sounded fake. It sounded as fake as the accent that I just did. It was ridiculous. What was that? Brock doesn't talk like that. I have been listening to this man speak for over 20 years, and I have never heard a southern drawl from the beast incarnate. What was that? He puts on a cowboy hat. All of a sudden, he thinks he's from Texas? I don't understand.
Well, if you noticed, like, he kind of lost it as the promo went on. Like, he had it early on, and then suddenly it went back to normal Brock voice. So, yeah, like, he just put it on for his new character, I guess. Because he probably heard people talk like that and thought, oh, this would be good for my character, more than likely. And Brock does whatever he wants, right? So that's what happened.
What goes through his mind? It's crazy.
Oh, do you want to know? I don't know if you want to know that stuff, because that dialogue was fantastic, I thought.
Well, I know
what great promo.
What goes through Brock's mind. Bobby Lashley. I think about Bobby Lashley when I'm eating steaks. I think about Bobby Lashley when I go to sleep. I think about Bobby Lashley when I crawl into bed with my wife.
Oh, 4 to 5 hours after that.
And then he says, well, 4 to 5 hours later, I think about Bobby. And I'm like, pardon me, sir. You're having sexual relations for 4 to 5 hours? What are you, Sting? What are you doing, tantric sex? What the hell's going on here? 4 to 5 hours? It's ridiculous. I mean, that's just an absurd amount of time. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Sable doesn't want that. She doesn't want Brock Lesnar on top of her for 4 to 5 hours. Nobody wants that. I mean, what the hell? 4 to 5 hours. It's such a braggadocious number that's so ridiculous. I could have sex for 4 to 5 hours. Yeah, all right. I think she was done after about 15 minutes, man. I don't know what you're still doing, but maybe you should finish up and kind of move on, buddy. Brock takes his time.
That's the fun part about wrestling promos. You can say stuff like that, and people will just pop anyways, regardless, just because it sounds so crazy.
I was like, 4 to 5 hours? What are you talking about, man? It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous statement. Anyhow, Brock pulled out a contract.
Ah, okay. Good to know.
Yeah, out of his pants. And it was for a match with Bobby Lashley. And he called out Bobby to sign the contract, and Bobby came out, And Bobby says, Brock, I pinned you in the first match, and I lost the second one, but then I laid you unconscious afterwards. You were unconscious when I left the ring, and I eliminated you easily at the Royal Rumble. And I'm going to get my agent and my manager and my lawyer to look at the contract, and then I'll get back to you. And then Brock's like, oh, yeah? And then he hits Bobby with an F5, and then he hit him with another F5. And this Monday on Raw, we're having the contract signing. So they're obviously going to sign the contract.
We have a brawl that just broke out here.
Yeah, what's happening on Rampage? Seems like pandemonium.
So Rhea and Toni Storm came out to confront Ruby Soho, and then Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter attacked them. So now we have Bedlam here. So, yeah.
I like it. What was the match? What's Ruby Soho doing?
I think Ruby beat Marina Shafir.
Oh, yeah.
That was the match. Yeah.
Pandemonium on Dynamite. Oh, there's Mark Briscoe doing a promo. And Mark Briscoe's he's a scary-looking guy. Jeez. What a face. What a face. What a character. I'll watch this promo later. Worth watching for sure.
Oh, he got interrupted, though.
God, already by Mark Sterling? That's not great. Okay, Brock versus Bobby. It's happening. We're getting Brock.
It's pretty good. We're getting the match, too. Like, again, match you thought maybe for WrestleMania. And we're getting it next Saturday in Montreal. That's fantastic. I don't know how great the match is going to be, but, just to get those two in the ring against each other. I enjoyed however brief that match was when they would just throw each other around. Mainly Brock throwing Bobby around because Bobby, for whatever reason, can't take German suplexes very well. Like, turns and, looks like he hurts himself all the time. So hopefully he's learned from those two matches and, won't die this time, but we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. That's the fun part of watching this.
It's always a risk when you're in there with Brock, right? I mean, things can happen.
Well, to be fair, you've had two matches now with them. You should realize that these Germans kind of hurt. Maybe I need to take them a different way, possibly. Don't turn and, look like I break my neck every time.
How did they finish this one? They're 1-1, right? So is this a no contest? This is a draw? Because I think they're going to go to Mania with this.
Technically, Bobby said that he's up 2. He eliminated from the Rumble, right? He eliminated Brock from the Rumble.
Oh.
So he's got the edge, apparently. So.
Oh.
If this does go to Mania, that could be the deciding match where Brock has to get the win back here in Montreal. So maybe a Canadian will win. However, I could see the Hurt Business also screwing over Brock as well. It seems like they're building up the Hurt Business again.
Yeah, but maybe that's for Mania because they haven't fully built them up.
Possibly. That's it. Again, if a Canadian's going to win, I guess it's going to be Brock. He's the best shot, even though he's not a true Canadian, but whatever. He has citizenship, so it works.
Yeah. I'll accept Brock as a Canadian. I'm not sure how this match is going to finish. But I'm thinking Brock possibly wins and then they extend it to Mania somehow. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it, though, because it's Brock Lesnar wrestling. Raw was cool on Monday because they announced Edge, Beth Phoenix, and Brock Lesnar for a show that I have tickets for. So that was good.
Well, people that we don't usually see, and we happen to get it, with the shows that we actually get to go to. So, yeah, it feels like we're kind of been blessed here. Where tonight on SmackDown, it felt like you watched, an episode of Superstars tonight almost.
Yeah.
Just jobber matches practically.
Yeah, there were no stars on SmackDown tonight. I want to stick with the Elimination Chamber and the preview here. And I guess we'll touch on SmackDown. Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. Which should main event the Chamber, right? That'll close the show.
Yeah. No question. The only question now is, will Sami Zayn get his old song? Because that's what they need to have, I think. Because that will just add to the atmosphere. Everyone will keep doing that throughout the whole match, practically, I think. His song.
I hadn't thought about the music, but I guess you're right, eh? People do like that old song. His current song's all right, though.
It's not the same, though, and they killed it intentionally, because he became a heel, right? So they made sure so people didn't go along with his song, so it was harder to do. So
Right. Okay. Well, they did a promo tonight, Paul Heyman and Sami Zayn in the ring to kick off SmackDown. It was one of the better things I saw on SmackDown tonight. Heyman calls Sami Zayn a psychopathic rebel and tells us that Sami isn't here this evening, which was not exactly true. Heyman says, could you imagine Sami Zayn as the champion? And the crowd was kind of like, yeah, we could. But they weren't like, it wasn't a roar from the crowd. You know, it wasn't like, can you imagine Sami Zayn as champion? The crowd was like, yeah, you know, Sami. It was kind of like, yeah, we kind of want that. It wasn't a great reaction. I don't know. Did you notice that? It was kind of like, yeah, the crowd's behind him, and not to a big extent. Like, they were at the Mohegan Sun. The crowd wasn't particularly hot in general tonight.
That's what I thought overall. Just, you know, I mean, I think that was pretty much as hot as it's going to get. Besides, I think Rey Mysterio's entrance. It just wasn't a very hot crowd. However, maybe they saw the card they were getting and they realized, like, well, we're not going to really cheer much for this because they're not giving us much to cheer for. So I kind of understand, like, why they were quiet. Like, they didn't give them much.
Heyman talked about Cody Rhodes, saying, you know, Cody thought it wasn't personal, but Heyman says the belts are everything, and they mean everything. Without the belts, there's no bloodline, there's no Roman. You make it personal when you come after the titles. And then Sami Zayn shows up from behind Heyman, and he wants the microphone, and he says, you know, I could have dropped you, I could have beat you up, but I am not going to. And why has no one come out to help you? A month ago, when the bloodline was running strong, Solo would have been out here to attack me, or Jimmy Uso, or Jey Uso, but the bloodline knows that their time is up. I left the bloodline. Jey Uso is going to leave the bloodline. And once Jey officially leaves, Jimmy's going to leave too. Because he's going to follow his brother. He's going to leave his cousin. And he didn't really say what Solo was going to do, but, you know, whatever. So he said the bloodline is going to be dismantled, and Roman Reigns has 8 days left, 8 days before he loses his undisputed Universal title, and he shouldn't be worried about Cody because he should be worried about Sami Zayn, who's going to take him out. And then I guess Sami Zayn will worry about Cody for WrestleMania. But, you know, I don't see Sami Zayn becoming champion. I'm sure the crowd would love it if he did beat Roman Reigns. I don't see it happening. I don't see it making sense right now. I think Roman and Cody is the match. They're already advertising it. They already have the graphic up. It's already, you know, that's the dream match. That's the big one they've been building for a year now. It's what they have to do. And Sami has done a great job, but I think that the Sami story is going to go a different direction, probably at the Chamber. And I think it's going to have to do with the Usos. Like I said last week, you know. The Usos tonight, there was some question as to whether or not Jey Uso was going to show up and help Jimmy defend the tag team titles. Jimmy was unsure. He couldn't reach him on the phone. He goes to the ring for the match. He says, I know my brother's going to show up. He's standing there. They're introducing the tag teams. And here comes Jey Uso from the crowd to help his brother and defend the tag team titles against Braun Strowman and Ricochet in a match that was pretty solid. It was all right. But now you have the Usos.
A little distracted here.
What?
A little distracted here. Hangman is doing a promo with Renee, and he's kind of like mad that Renee's doing the promo. Now we got interrupted, which always happens.
Yeah, by Kip Sabian, which, like, what's the point?
Well, can't wrestle Moxley every week, so he has to have someone else.
Right. So the Usos get the win over Braun Strowman and Ricochet. They hugged before the match. They're on the same page. But the question is Jey Uso back with the bloodline, back with Roman, or is he just with his brother and on his own? So Jey Uso runs into Sami Zayn backstage, and Sami says that he knows Roman very well, and he won't let Jey forget what he did at the Royal Rumble. And Sami appreciates what he did, walking away and not attacking him, but he says Roman is going to remember that and make him pay for it. And Roman is going to be going down in 8 days, and Jey doesn't have to go down with the ship. There's a way out for him. Sami tells Jey that he acknowledges him. And then Jay's like, all right, Sami, get out of here with all that. And Sami goes to give a fist bump to Jey, and Jey does fist bump him back. But
eventually.
Yeah, it takes him a little while. But it did feel like Sami Zayn was trying to, like, flip Jey Uso. Like, Jey Uso, you're a member of the Mafia, and if you just turn on Roman Reigns here, there's a way out for you. There's a better life. You don't have to be a bad guy forever. It was just odd. Like, what's he trying to do with Jey Uso? But I think the bigger point is, the main point to all this, is that Jey Uso is still on the fence, right? It seems like Jey Uso is siding with Sami Zayn, siding against the Tribal Chief. That's what it seemed like at the Rumble. No one heard from Jey Uso last week. This week, no one can hear from him, but he does show up to defend the tag titles with his brother. And his brother, as far as we know, is still down with the program with the Bloodline and Roman and everybody, right? So I think what would make a lot of sense is for the Usos to turn on Sami Zayn. It's for Jey Uso at some point to turn on Sami Zayn and for Kevin Owens to come out and make the save. The problem is this can't happen in Montreal because, as we saw tonight on SmackDown at the end of the show, Paul Heyman telling Jimmy Uso to stay home next week and watch on TV because there are some things that you could see on TV that you can't see when you're live. But the real story is the Usos can't cross the border because Jimmy Uso's had too many DUIs, so the Canadian government won't let him through. It's not the Tribal Chief that won't let the Usos in the country, it's the Canadian government. So we're not going to be able to see what I think we need here at the end of the pay-per-view, which is the Usos fully turning on Sami, Kevin Owens coming to make the save, and then setting up a tag team title match for WrestleMania. So I'm not sure how they finish the match, but I think because we haven't seen Kevin Owens since the Royal Rumble, no matter what happens at the end of the night at Elimination Chamber, once Sami loses to Roman with help from Solo or help from Heyman or no help at all, because Roman Reigns beating Sami Zayn is completely plausible given how they've both been booked, right? Like, if Roman just beats him on his own, it's like, yeah, well, Roman Reigns. It makes sense. But whatever happens after the match, a beatdown from Roman and Solo, whatever, I think Kevin Owens has to come out and make the save, make his return there. Huge pop from the crowd. Kevin and Sami stand tall at the end of the night and set up, maybe something against the Usos. It's really unfortunate that they can't come into the country because I think the Usos starting a feud with Kevin and Sami at the Chamber would be ideal. But they might have to wait till SmackDown in a couple weeks to start it for real.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Didn't Jimmy, not Jimmy, Jay, didn't he make one of the Canadian Western shows? I feel like he was there. Jimmy wasn't there, but Jay was
Ah,
there.
okay.
So maybe it's possible. And all you have to do is like someone in a hoodie attack them, attack Sami or something. It's like, oh, who was that person? And then the following week on SmackDown, you reveal that it was Jay or Jimmy or whatever, and that's it. Like there's ways around everything. There's ways to make it work. Lights go off. Who turned the lights off? And nailed Sami when the lights were off. Stuff like that.
Yeah. But I see it where Roman wins. Roman retains. We see Roman go up to WrestleMania against Cody. And I think that the Usos against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn for the tag titles at WrestleMania makes a lot of sense. I think it's the best case scenario for those guys, because otherwise, what are they doing? What are they doing?
Everyone in all that in that match is Kevin as well. Like I saw people saying, "Oh, Kevin against Solo." I'm like, that's really a huge step down for Kevin for that. I mean, if the end game was that, I mean, undisputed tag team titles, much better ending, I think, for WrestleMania than just a match with Solo. Like, I think he's already done that even, so it doesn't really give him much, really, given what he's had since the start of this. Like, it really makes sense for the Usos. Like, I saw it for like since October. I thought like it should have been the tag match. Like, you've seen this, and they've been building towards it. It makes a lot of sense. And they had the whole, they defend the Raw titles, defend the SmackDown titles. Maybe they'll break them up. They did not break them up, which is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And this is it. It makes the match bigger. Undisputed champion tag team titles. They finally lose them at WrestleMania.
Longest reigning champions ever, too.
It's a big deal. It's a bigger deal than wrestling solo. Sorry for Solo, but
yeah. So, wrestling solo is not a big deal for Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. I mean, the guy wrestled Stone Cold last year.
Right.
You can't drop that far. I wanted to see Cody wrestle solo at Elimination Chamber. Cody comes out, cuts a promo saying, Roman, I'm going to take out the younger, better version of you, the next you. I'm going to take out Solo before I take you out, but I don't know if we're going to get that. I wanted to see Cody at the Chamber, a Cody match, but I don't know if we'll get it. I don't even think Cody will be there.
We got a lot, so I'm not really going to complain about not getting Cody.
Oh, Cody's a big star, and he's going into WrestleMania. I don't know. I figured they'd give him some sort of appearance at the Chamber. Like, don't you want to have him around?
Not really necessary. I mean, do you need to see Charlotte, really? I mean, she's a big star.
I'd like to.
I mean, you'd like to, but I mean, her path is set pretty much. You don't really need to see her.
Yeah.
And there's more than enough stars already on the show, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Ain't going to complain.
All right, so we've got Roman over Sami. How about the Elimination Chamber matches? Austin Theory defending the U.S. title against Seth freaking Rollins, Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, and Montez Ford. Priest and Ford qualifying on Raw this week. I think Theory is just going to retain the U.S. title.
Right, yeah. Makes sense. I think it's going to be a very good match, though.
Yeah.
I think an excellent match. There's a good mix of guys in that match. Different styles. Could be it's definitely going to be the best chamber match, I think.
Yeah. I'm not very excited for it, though, right? Like, whatever.
The stakes aren't high, I agree. But, I mean, it helps Theory in a sense where he's going to face Cena at Mania. It's better if it's for the U.S. title because that was a big thing for Cena.
Does he face Cena at Mania?
I think so. I mean, he's been teasing it, right? The whole, the champ is here, and I'm Mr. Aggression. I'm ruthless.
It'd be a big match for him. I think it should happen. It'd be cool if Cena came out at the end of the chamber match to confront Theory, but probably not. Theory is our
not.
pick to win to retain the U.S. title in that Elimination Chamber match. How about the Women's Chamber match? Who's going on to face Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania? Asuka, Liv Morgan, Nikki Cross, Raquel Rodriguez, Natalya, and Carmella. Coming up on Raw this week, it'll be Asuka, Carmella, and Nikki Cross against Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, and Natalya. A Raw versus SmackDown 6-woman tag to get you ready for the Elimination Chamber. I think I picked Asuka last week. I'm sticking with Asuka. I think Asuka and Bianca makes the most sense. Out of the 6 women that are there, I guess you could put Liv Morgan, but Asuka's the best option. Or Raquel Rodriguez. I like Raquel, but I think maybe next year for Raquel in a big match at WrestleMania. This year, I think it's still Asuka.
Yeah, same thing. Liv, there's going to be a shot, but I just don't see her winning. I mean, it might come down to them in the final 2, but I just don't think Liv's going to win it. They're going to showcase her like crazy, and Raquel as well. But in the end, it's not going. They're also from SmackDown. It's kind of weird that they've done this, but they as we've seen with Lita coming back, they just lack stars right now. So they need to just put people of decent caliber in the chamber.
Yeah. And that's what they tried to do.
It helped it actually a lot. If you think about it, if they try to get everyone from Raw, it wouldn't have been that good. Unless they got Becky and Bayley in there.
Yeah. But I guess they're doing something else. Maybe getting a tag team match of some sort at the Chamber, but maybe not. We'll see. We'll be going to the Chamber next Saturday. We're going to SmackDown next Friday. SmackDown and Elimination Chamber. Going to 2 WWE shows back-to-back nights. Not the first time. I've done that before. I've done a Raw
SmackDown.
Raw Monday, SmackDown taping Tuesday. Done that.
Yeah. That wasn't great. The Monday was good. Tuesday, not so great.
I've also done Montreal house show on a Friday.
And then a pay-per-view.
And then a pay-per-view in Toronto on a Saturday. I've done that too.
Was it Hamilton or something?
No, it was Toronto.
Okay.
Roadblock.
Right.
FTR against Enzo and Cass. Dean Ambrose, Triple H. Classic. I think I also... I think it was maybe twice in the same week. I went to a Raw in Montreal and then a SmackDown in Ottawa. Maybe it was a house show in Montreal and a SmackDown in Ottawa, something like that. I've done it before, is what I'm saying. It's not the first time I'll be going to 2 WWE shows in a week or back-to-back nights even. This might be the better one, though. One of them being a pay-per-view. It's good.
I mean, SmackDown looks good, too. I don't know if you've seen the SmackDown card, but the fact that we get to see Ronda wrestle in Montreal, that's going to be pretty cool. I've never seen Ronda wrestle before. Live.
Is she wrestling?
Yeah, she's in a tag match. It's her and Shayna against Natty and Shotzi.
Oh, okay. So that's next week. Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And I also saw that they announced... well, I don't know if they announced it, but Sheamus and Drew versus the Viking Raiders. Is that on SmackDown next week, too?
Yep. Yeah, that's going to happen, yeah.
That's pretty good. And I guess Roman Reigns is going to be on SmackDown?
I guess. I would imagine, maybe Sami as well. The thing is, too, I wonder, and I question this, do you have them on SmackDown, or do you save the reaction for the next night, Because does it take away from it?
I don't think so.
The night before?
I don't think it takes away. It's a different crowd. It's not necessarily the same people that are going to see Sami one night or the other. Plus the buzz around the chamber when it's a title match and he comes out for the match, it's a totally different vibe.
Possibly. I don't know. The thing is, they've already done enough to sell it. Do you really need to have more hype? Maybe a promo would be fine, but a confrontation, I don't even know if confrontation is needed at this point. But maybe they will, because for television, they'll do it. A little confrontation, a little, because there was no Roman tonight, so
Yeah.
maybe that's what they'll do.
And Heyman telling Jimmy Uso to stay home and watch makes me think that they're going to do something with Roman and Heyman next week on SmackDown.
I was thinking Solo, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Harold Schneider dropping a $5 super chat. Thank you, Harold, for supporting the team. Appreciate it. Ryan Katz saying it'll be his first time going to see back-to-back nights. Matthew Henley says it'll be his second live pay-per-view. It'll be for WWE. For me, it'll be how many have they run here? 4? This will be the 4th?
4, yeah.
Yeah, Survivor Series 97, and then the No Way Out, and then the Breaking Point, or whatever that was called.
Breaking Point, yes.
Yeah, that's what it was called? Okay. And then this one here.
It's called Breaking Point.
Chamber. I've been to a couple Money in the Banks. Been to a Survivor Series. Yeah, other than 97, I think 08 it was. Been to a few WWE pay-per-views. Always a good time. Always a good time. Well worth.
Your first Chamber.
Yes, this will be my first Chamber, which is cool. Still haven't been to a Rumble or a Mania. But at some point, it will happen. I didn't expect the Chamber. Did not expect them to be coming here for the Chamber. That's a pretty big deal. Obviously, they had the Sami Zayn match, the Sami Zayn push in mind when they booked it, but Montreal's a hot crowd, and they sold out the building. Chamber sold out. SmackDown sold out. They're going to do big business here. So, what is happening on Rampage? The Acclaimed just chased off Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett because they were attacking Orange Cassidy and Danhausen? And the Best Friends are there too?
Yeah. I guess this was because they more than likely taped it right after Dynamite, right? So I guess this was to give it more of a happy ending because they ended Dynamite. Yeah. Ended on a low, so and more on a high for Rampage.
I want to talk about Dynamite and everything that happened there in just a bit, but before we do, I'll tell you what. I'll run down what happened on Raw, and you stop me when there's something you want to talk about.
We got to talk about the opening segment. I so much about that opening segment we got to talk about.
The Edge and Beth Phoenix in-ring promo, and Edge talking about the Judgment Day and putting all the Judgment Day talent over except Dominic.
You're jumping ahead. First, Edge slaps Beth on her ass, not once but twice. And then Beth gets mad at Edge. Yeah. You didn't catch that? And Beth got mad and said, don't do that again.
Okay. I don't know. I didn't notice.
I understand why Beth was pissed about that because, she comes out, strong, she could destroy anybody. And then Edge is kind of just, goofing off. And, Edge, Edge taking his sweet time getting in the ring, taking selfies, taking all sorts of photos with fans and all that, high-fiving fans and going all around the ring. No one does that, but Edge just does whatever he wants, taking advantage of it.
Edge was playful. He was making fun of Finn Balor, called him a dollar store Jamiroquai, and says Dominic dropped his pants in the clink. I think he made a joke about Dominic being sexually violated while he was in jail.
Yeah, I caught that. That was weird.
Yeah. I forget. It was a comedian that said that at one point. Might have been Norm Macdonald. I think it's Norm Macdonald. Says something about,
Sounds like it.
Rape jokes. You can't joke about rape. It's horrible. Unless it's a man-on-man rape in prison. You could drop that joke anytime. No, don't drop the soap. You can say all that type of stuff all the time and nobody bats an eye. Nobody...
Yeah,
if it's a man raping another man in prison, you could joke about that all day. It's not a big deal. Edge did it on Raw, and no one really questioned it.
Well, it's Dominic, right? So it's okay.
I guess so, because it's Dominic. It's fine. Nobody likes Dominic. Say what you want about Dominic Mysterio, and I will say whatever I want about Dominic because I think he's terrible. But people hate him. He is maybe the most hated man in all of professional wrestling at this point. Like, the heat that he gets from every crowd hates Dominic. Like,
wow,
it's loud,
it's
too.
Heat, though.
Yeah, but it's loud.
Okay.
You want to see him get beat up?
Sure, but the problem is they give it to us. We got it in the opening segment. Like, Beth beat the crap out of him. That's the problem. Like, they kill his heat. Like, it'd be all right if he wasn't just such a wimp. Like, because he's such a wimp, like, people boo because it's just not believable him being there. And him complaining about being in prison. Everyone knows that's BS. Like, they joke about it all the time. So I think fans just are sick of him because they know this is a joke that's run its course and they want it to be over.
Yeah. I think there's an element of that too. I don't think you're wrong about that. People don't want to see him. He's garbage.
But we gotta, unfortunately, Damian Priest, I don't know, he had like a deer in the headlights moment on Raw. I don't know if you caught that.
When he started talking?
And like he had no idea what he was talking about. Like,
oh yeah, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna win this match, and then I'm gonna go to Money in the Edge. I hate you so much. I'm flustered because of how much I hate you, Edge. Oh, I just hate you so bad. Oh yeah, it's Elimination Chamber. That's the pay-per-view I'm gonna qualify for. Yeah, I noticed that. I did notice that. And I noticed how he tried to save it by saying, Edge, I hate you. I can't speak because of how much I hate you, Edge. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, he's not good at talking, Damian Priest. He's, like, very bad at talking. Finn Balor is bad at talking. Dominic Mysterio almost looks good next to those guys because he can somewhat string a couple words together. Rhea Ripley needs to talk for them constantly because she's the only one that's legitimate in that group. But yeah, Damian Priest can't talk for shit. The guy is a terrible promo. Most people in pro wrestling are garbage promos these days. I mean, very few people in the wrestling business know how to cut a promo. Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman, they know how to cut a promo. MJF, that guy knows how to cut a promo. There are some guys in pro wrestling that could cut promos consistently that are pretty damn good to excellent, and then most guys that are just cutting garbage to halfway decent. You know, like the scale for most people in wrestling, it's garbage promos and your peak might be halfway decent. For Cody and other guys that are at a higher level, it's like very good to goddamn that was excellent. Damian Priest was just garbage this week, and Cody Rhodes was goddamn that was excellent. That's why Cody Rhodes is up here, Damian Priest is down here. Because if you can't talk, can't sell yourself, doesn't matter how big you are or how good you are at moves, no one gives a shit. No one cares.
Well, I think his problem is just that it's not easy to memorize a promo. And I've noticed, like, he seemed like it was hard for him just trying to remember, okay, what's next, you know, like, because he had a lot to say. And eventually just, you know, deer in the headlights, just blank and didn't know what was going on. And he just got stuck out there. It's too bad, you know, it happens. But I think the thing is, like, Cody, I think, is just more comfortable going over his promos over and over. And, you know, Damian Priest just isn't as comfortable. It's different, too, because he's in a group. So you kind of have to go with everyone's cues and everything. Like, I say this, then you'll say that. Then we cut to that person, will say that. It's harder to do that, I think.
I mean, it's awkward.
It's very awkward.
I'll give you that. It's awkward. It might not be easy for Damian Priest to get it out there. But when he tries to save it in the way that he did, it was just... It was pretty bad.
You live and learn. Because, you know, that hasn't happened before for him, so... And That's it. Yeah. Trans Am. I think Dave already said it, if I'm not mistaken. Like, what Damian Priest said exactly? Like, he said Money in the Bank, but it's actually Elimination Chamber we're going into.
Yeah. And then he beat Angelo Dawkins to qualify for Elimination Chamber, Damian Priest. And then Adam Pearce was talking to the male model team, they're now on Raw. I think they're trying to recruit Otis. I don't know what's going on there. And then Chelsea Green showed up and wants to see the manager. That's her gimmick. She always has to talk to the manager. And it's still Adam Pearce, and she's not happy with the chocolates that were given to her last week in her dressing room, and she wants to qualify for What?
They weren't Swiss chocolate. They were Belgian chocolates, apparently. Yeah.
And she wants to qualify for the Elimination Chamber, which is not going to happen. But she does get a match that she loses to Asuka later on. Asuka beat Chelsea Green. After that, after the Chelsea Green promo thing, we had Dexter Lumis versus Baron Corbin. Lumis beat Baron Corbin. Not a great match. Mostly Corbin just putting a rear chin lock on. Lumis had a couple nice moves. He did a belly-to-back suplex into a kip-up into a leg drop that was kind of cool. Nice little combo thing. But the match wasn't great because Corbin isn't great. Even JBL doesn't want to be around Baron Corbin anymore. That was one of the highlights of Raw. When JBL just berates Baron Corbin. Corbin's like, where are we going out to eat? JBL's like, we? There is no we. You're a channel changer. Nobody wants to see you on TV, Baron Corbin. My legacy is being tarnished, being associated with you. You're a clown. And Corbin's like, I'll do better. And JBL's like, you can't polish a turd. I tried. And then he walks away. Good for you, JBL. Your legacy was being tarnished hanging out with that jabroni. That was one of the best promos. Again, you want to talk about good promos. JBL knows how to talk. That's why he got over. That's why he was the world champion for so long. That's why he became a main event star. He's a big guy. He's a decent wrestler. But it's the promo and the character that made him a star. Bradshaw wasn't a star. JBL was a star. And JBL was on fire going after Baron Corbin. That was fantastic. Just burying Corbin. Maybe that's it with Corbin. I don't know. They're going to have to repackage him again. Another repackage for Baron Corbin. How about that promo from JBL, though? Just destroying him.
Yeah, but now JBL's gone. So, like, I mean, it was good, but it's like, well, damn it. Like, I liked having JBL on television almost every week. Now we won't get JBL anymore, so it's kind of sad. Like, I would have wanted him to stay in some capacity, but I mean, you're still going to get Corbin, you know, so.
Will we?
To me, this is, yeah.
Maybe they keep him off TV for a while for the repackage.
No, yeah, but eventually he'll come back. Like, JBL is probably not going to come back. So it's really disappointing. Like, he was one of the highlights for me of Raw, so.
Or maybe
I've lost the highlight now.
Maybe they're trying to phase out Baron Corbin altogether, because that was a real burial of Corbin. Like, all the shit JBL said about him was rough, right?
Yeah.
And
before Mania, too. Why? Like,
yeah.
It's just baffling.
Now, I think it's Triple H. I think Triple H thinks Corbin sucks. Do you remember a few years ago when the whole McMahon family came out and they're like, we hear you, we know Raw is bad, and Triple H is like, we know Raw sucks. It's all Baron Corbin's fault. There's too much Baron Corbin. Remember, he just blamed Baron Corbin for all of the WWE's problems and faults, and he just kind of buried Corbin as the reason why wrestling was garbage. I think he just hates Baron Corbin because it was odd. Like, the whole McMahon family came out and were like, we hear you. We're going to do things better. The stories will be better. Everything's going to be better. And Triple H is like, yeah, but really the problem is Baron Corbin. Let's be clear. And it wasn't like he was feuding with Corbin. It came out of nowhere. It was like, why is Triple H burying Baron Corbin here? He must really not like him. And now he's in charge of creative, and JBL just buried him on TV. Makes me wonder, does Triple H just really dislike Baron Corbin and we're just seeing him buried? Is that what's happening?
I think they just didn't like the pairing or whatever. The idea of the whole, like, the modern day wrestling god, I just don't think they liked how it was going. Didn't think it was getting over, not getting much reaction. So I think they just decided, well, we're just going to bail on this, because I've noticed that with Triple H's booking, where he'll start something and then maybe after 2 or 3 weeks, if it's not working out, he'll just kind of drop it pretty much, or like go on to something else. So he's doing a lot of hot-shotting almost, in a sense. So I'm not kind of surprised by this.
Well, he's trying things, I guess, and it isn't really worth bringing JBL to the shows for Corbin.
Oh, but the fans lose, because I think JBL added to the show.
Yeah.
Like, regardless, like, you got to see Corbin. At least you got to see JBL, so at least it was a positive.
But the Corbin thing isn't working, so to pay for JBL to show up to try and make Corbin a star when Corbin clearly isn't a star because you can't polish a turd, it's not worth it. Candice LeRae, Carmella, Piper Niven, and Mia Yim had a fatal four-way that Carmella won to qualify for the Elimination Chamber. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, that match happened. Well, Piper Niven looked good, and like it seemed like they're trying to push her, but the big problem with her is, like, what is the difference between Piper Niven and Doudrop besides, like, the name change? Like, how is the character any different, really? Like, maybe she changes her outfit, but, like, is the attitude, like, she was never established.
No.
Really, in a sense. She was just like a bodyguard for Eva Marie, right? And then that Eva Marie's gone, so then she just exists, and that's it. And then she's partners with Nick Cross, and then that breaks up. But, like, it's really hard to get invested in a lot of these characters when, regardless that if you see them, they're still not established. They haven't done a good enough job explaining who Piper Niven is and what is the difference with this character. Okay, she's big. She's always been big. Like, that hasn't changed.
They bring back some characters, and it seems like they really don't have anything for them. Piper Niven, like, Chelsea Green has come back here. They brought her in, and she's just jobbing. Like, she's getting a couple backstage segments, but she's just nothing. She
has a role.
Yeah, but how long can that really last? They brought Emma back to do what? Be Madcap Moss's manager? Like, what are they doing?
Seems like it, yeah.
It's just to pad the roster, I guess. I don't know. But a lot of this talent that they have, I don't think there's a real plan for. I think Piper Niven is one of those where they just don't have much of an idea. What's Candice LeRae doing? They brought her back for what? What kind of impact has she made on the roster? You know?
Yeah, I can't say much, but I see why they brought her back, because she has connections with other wrestlers, so it makes sense. And they just needed someone, again, like you said, to pad in the roster, someone that can feud with other wrestlers they're familiar with enough. So, but again, not really over, unfortunately. That's the problem.
Nope.
They don't try hard enough to get a lot of the underneath talent over. They just focus on the top stars, and like everyone else is just kind of like, well, we're going to put you through all these matches that don't really mean much, and that's all you get.
Nobody was over in that match. Carmella, Candice LeRae, Piper Niven, Mia Yim is another one they brought back, and it's like crickets. No one cares. Crickets.
Yeah, sadly.
What happened to the OC? AJ Styles got hurt, and they just gave up on Gallows and Anderson? One of those guys hurt too? Like, where do those guys go?
Yeah, we haven't seen Anderson, I think, ever since he had that match in Japan, so maybe he got hurt in Japan.
Maybe he decided, I'm just going to stay in Japan. This WWE thing is not for me. Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander actually got a win this week. They beat the Alpha Academy. Super chat. MVP was in their corner. Cedric and Shelton look legit happy to finally win a match, because I can't remember the last time they won a match on TV. right?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, as a tag team, I don't really remember the last time they won.
Or even singles. When's the last time either of them won on TV?
Yeah, it's been a while. Like, I think maybe Cedric or Sheldon's won on like main event,
That's not
but
TV. Doesn't count.
okay, well, they haven't really won that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big win for them. They beat Alpha Academy, who just loses to everybody, but still. I think they're trying to do something with this Hurt Business. The Miz and Rick Boogs are feuding. They had a little bit of a backstage promo encounter. I think they're going to do another match on Raw on Monday, which is unfortunate because I don't ever tune into wrestling to watch Miz or Rick Boogs. I actively try to avoid those guys when they're on wrestling because I don't really like them. Because they're not very
At least you won't be there live.
Thank God. Asuka beat Chelsea Green. Natalia, Liv Morgan, Carmella, Raquel Rodriguez, and Nikki Cross. I'll watch the match from ringside to hype up the Elimination Chamber match. Bianca Belair came out afterwards and says, I see 6 top-tier women in WWE, but which one has what it takes to win the Elimination Chamber and face me at WrestleMania? I won the Chamber last year to win the belt, and I wish you all good luck, because whoever wins will make it out to face me at WrestleMania. So yeah, we know Bianca. She comes out and states the obvious, and that's her promo. You know?
Yeah, it wasn't great.
I don't know. It was particularly bad. It was just awkward. It was just like, hi, you're all really good at wrestling. You will have a match at the Chamber. I have won the Chamber before. The winner will face me at Mania. Who will be good enough to win this Chamber match and face me at Mania? Point at the sign. Goodbye, everyone. Like, it was not, I don't know. She's not, she doesn't seem comfortable on the microphone. She seems comfortable in the ring, but on the mic in front of the crowd doesn't work very much. Antoinette dropping a $3 super chat. Thank you, Antoinette. She says, see you next Saturday. So excited. Yes, Antoinette will be coming down from Toronto to Montreal to see the Elimination Chamber and her favorite, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, which is cool. Looking forward to that.
It'll be quite the entrance.
The Roman Reigns entrance is always great. I assume he'll take a lot of booze. Okay.
Yeah,
well, maybe not.
Next.
Yeah. The highlight of Raw was that Cody Rhodes, Paul Heyman promo, right? That's the best thing we saw on Raw this week.
I like the cage match a lot, but yeah, that was definitely the highlight.
The cage match was very good. Becky and Bayley, they went hard.
Yeah, I got to give Bayley credit. Like, I haven't seen her in very good matches lately, but that one was good.
She took a bump where they were both on the top of the cage, and Bayley kind of, like, she got dropped off the top, and she bumped kind of into the ropes.
Oh, yeah, that looked bad. I thought she, like, blew out her knee or something.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that looked bad.
That looked really bad. But like, in a good way.
The rope.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you don't want to take too many of those things because, like, you know, luck's not always on your side. And I think she got lucky because she hit the rope and it kind of saved her a little bit, but that could have been really bad, actually.
Yeah.
That Bayley to belly thing, that looked like that could have been bad. I thought they were going to break their legs or something.
Yeah. That was awesome. That was a very good match. Very good match. Lita helping Becky cheat to win, though. I mean, Lita...
Well, because other people were cheating first. Like,
I guess they were, but still. Bayley has a... You know, she's got a bone to pick there with Lita. I mean, Lita kind of messed with her. Io stopped Becky from exiting the cage, and Dakota passed Bayley a crutch to use on Becky that she did. And then Lita came out, took out Io, took out Dakota, and then slammed the door on Bayley's head, the cage door, and then Bayley turned around, manhandle slam, 1, 2, 3, Becky wins. Lita and Becky hugged after the match like they're friends. But yeah, that match was very good. That was the match of the night for sure. Great cage match.
Just one thing.
Worth the wait.
I
We were supposed to see it a couple weeks ago. We got it this week.
Yeah.
It was worth the wait. Very good.
I agree, but I don't know if you noticed, but like, I felt like 3 matches, maybe even 4. I think 3. Like they all had the same finish, like a rock bottom kind of finish. I don't know if you caught that, but
did they?
Well, because the Becky one did, and Dexter Lumis did like kind of the same thing.
It was like a side effect.
Fine, but I mean, very similar. And even Damian Priest, like he does a choke slam, but it's very similar. Again, like sit down, like how Dexter Lumis did it. Like I felt like we were just doing the same finishes again. Like
Montez Ford did a top rope splash to beat Elias.
There you go, something different. Yeah,
That's
nice.
Okay, the Cody promo. Cody comes out, says it looks like you might be facing Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. Wishes Sami the best of luck at the Chamber against Roman. And then Paul Heyman comes out and says he and the Tribal Chief want to congratulate Cody on winning the 2023 Royal Rumble. And then Cody says, his father and brother had a nickname for Heyman, but he's going to call him Mr. Heyman because he respects him. I wonder what Dusty and Dustin's nicknames are for Paul Heyman.
I was going to say Snake, but okay.
I mean, they must be derogatory.
Con Man?
Yeah, right? Cody says in the year 2000, his family was broke and his dad was doing local car commercials just to keep his car. And Heyman called Dusty and booked him for ECW and paid him very well. And Heyman is crying at this point, talking about, Dusty and the love that he had for Dusty in the history. Heyman is like tearing up. It's a very emotional promo. Cody says ECW gave Dusty his confidence back, and he can never repay Heyman for it. And this is a real story that I've heard Cody tell in interviews before this. I've heard this story before. This is legit. Dusty was really having hard times, baby. No pun intended. But he was on hard times, and Paul Heyman gave him a really nice payday and got him out of a hole and helped the family.
It was a pay-per-view match, too, actually. Like, he wrestled Carino on a pay-per-view.
And Heyman helped him up. And I think it helped the Rhodes family quite a bit at that time. Cody's still, very thankful for that 23 years ago. Cody says that he went somewhere else in pro wrestling, and from one disruptor in pro wrestling to another, he thanks him for showing him the way. Kind of mentioning AEW, not by name, but, saying Heyman started ECW. He was able to kind of take that knowledge and start AEW. Fans chanting, "Thank you, Paul," which was, interesting for all the heat that Paul Heyman gets as a heel manager. But the fans here, this was a moment. This was something else. And Heyman says, Cody, you're really good. You got me on a personal level. You got me, Cody. You got me feeling. You got me emotional. And Heyman says this isn't about him. This isn't about Dusty. This is about Cody and everything that he's fought for. Heyman says Cody has to finish his dream at WrestleMania to either make it come true or to face the nightmare of coming this close but not being able to finish the job. Heyman says Cody is facing the greatest box office attraction in Roman Reigns, and he wonders if Cody's going to crumble under the spotlight because no one has ever prepped him for this. He's never been prepped for this moment. Heyman talks about Dusty training and prepping Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, Bayley, Kevin Owens, and even Roman Reigns. Heyman says Dusty didn't train Cody, didn't prep Cody. Heyman says maybe Dusty wanted Cody to make it on his own and get to the top, but he can't convey in words how much he loved Dusty and also how much Dusty loved Cody. And they're both crying at this point. This was masterful. And Heyman
that's
says...
the only part...
Sorry, what?
I didn't like... I don't know about you, I find Cody cries too much in promos. And, like, I understand being emotional, but, like, it's getting a little too much with Cody crying all the time, though.
Yeah, this worked, though. This worked. I mean, it's a journey. You're trying to win the title your dad never won, the one belt your dad never won, and you're trying to win it for your dad who's dead. I mean, you expect him not to cry on this journey? Come on.
Yeah, but he's cried all the other times they talk about his dad. Like, he always cries, though. That's the problem. Like,
yeah, well, this was different.
Cried,
yeah, Heyman cried.
When Heyman cried, that was huge. But, like, Cody crying, it's almost, like, predictable.
Well, I tell you what wasn't predictable. The way Heyman ended this promo, which I thought was beautiful. It's emotional.
Yeah,
it's emotional. They're crying. And Heyman says, you know, in my last conversation with your dad, with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, Dusty told me that you were his favorite son. Which is like, oh. But Roman Reigns was the son he always wanted. And then he drops the mic, and you're like, oh, jeez. Oh,
good stuff.
What a line. What a line. So good. Cody, you were his favorite son, but Roman was the son he always wanted. And then Cody advances on Heyman, but then stops and shakes his hand real hard, kind of squeezes it, and says, I'm just trying to win a wrestling championship. Everybody wants to make it personal. Cody says, your boy Roman Reigns is going to pay for making it personal when I take those titles personally. Hell of a promo from Cody and Heyman. Beautiful. Classic.
Well, I think it kind of got people more back on, like, it's going to be Cody and Roman. Like, I think a lot of people were going like, oh, it's got to be Roman and Sami at Mania. But now I think with that promo, kind of put Cody back up there where it's like, yeah, this is the true main event of WrestleMania, and this is where you should be thinking. So I think that's why they had Heyman go out there and do that, to kind of get the focus back on Cody. Because it felt like it was kind of shifting a bit. And even, I think Cody said it, like, you know, you talk about Sami a bit, and he put over Sami, I think, to kind of, like, not get heat on himself. Because it felt like maybe people, because I told you in that promo, like, Roman cut on SmackDown last week, they mentioned Cody, and there's a bit of booing. Because, like, people want to talk about Sami. So I think Cody did that thing to put over Sami, take away any bit of heat there may have been.
I think Cody recognizes that he's a babyface and Sami's a babyface, and you have to, you know, show respect. And there are also people probably in the Sami Zayn camp who feel Sami should get the title shot and Sami should be getting what Cody's getting. So Cody has to be respectful for that and try to get those people on his side. It makes sense. It makes sense.
It's very careful. They were very careful in this promo. I mean, it kind of helped steer the ship back in the right direction, in a sense, it felt like.
Yeah. Cody and Sami, you know, Cody wishing Sami well, and Sami saying he's going to beat Roman, but neither Cody nor Sami have said anything about the other.
Right.
Like, you know, Cody didn't come out and say, good luck to you, Sami Zayn. Whether it's you or Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, it doesn't matter. I'm walking out champion. He says, you know, Roman Reigns, I'm coming after you. Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns. He doesn't say, you know, it doesn't matter. If it's Sami, I'll beat Sami too, right? There's none of that. And there's no Sami Zayn saying, hey, I'm going to beat Roman, and then I'm going to beat Cody at WrestleMania. That's not what they're doing.
Cody did say, may the best man win.
Yeah.
So he did kind of put over Sami in the sense where it's like, it's not for sure he's going to wrestle Roman. Sami could win, he said.
Well, yeah, you have to do that. Otherwise, you're just kind of ruining the finish. I mean, we all expect Sami to win, but if Cody comes out and cuts a promo about Roman and doesn't even mention Sami, it's kind of like, yo, dude, you know you could wrestle Sami because Sami's wrestling for the belt, right? It could technically happen. So he's got to do that. But great stuff from Cody this week. I look forward to seeing what he does next. I think his promos are going to be, hard to top this one, but Cody's doing some great work right now. Cody Rhodes, man. I was thinking about the journey of Cody, you know? His WWE run the first time around was, mid. And
well, there were good moments, though. I mean,
there
you
were
can't
good moments,
deny
but it was not like this. Like, this is a level where he's one of the best in the world. He's one of the top all-around talents in pro wrestling. He was not that when he left the WWE. The evolution of Cody Rhodes over the past few years since he left the WWE is unbelievable. And he was not this guy in New Japan or Ring of Honor. He became this guy in AEW. There was a new confidence. There was a new level of character development. He became this Cody Rhodes when AEW started. Because, like, he was always kind of part of the team, right? We got memberships gifted. There you go. I like these. Oh, nice. Antoinette gifted Doug Hepburn a membership to the team. Thank you, Antoinette. That's nice. It's a gift-giving season. I love it. Where was I, John?
Christmas isn't over.
Huh? Where was
I said Christmas is not over yet, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, it's extended Christmas. But about Cody and his evolution.
Yeah, he's become just an incredible talent. And it's really since AEW, this character really started in AEW. He kind of took a back seat to the Bucks and Kenny before AEW. But then when he split from the Elite and became his own man in AEW, that's when he really came out of his shell and became this level of Cody Rhodes where he's one of the top wrestling stars in the world. He wasn't that guy in WWE the first time. He wasn't that guy outside of WWE until AEW started, until he became the Cody Rhodes in AEW. And that's the Cody Rhodes we're seeing today. Like, the in-ring work was not quite there. But in AEW, like, something clicked. He was good. Like, he was solid in New Japan and stuff, but he wasn't this. This is another level. He's figured it out.
Well, in AEW, they kind of, gave him the ball in a sense. Like, okay, like, Omega and the Bucks had their thing, but Cody had his own thing. And, like, Cody was kind of like, for a lot of people, I don't know about you, like, before Punk showed up, Cody was practically the star of the show, in a sense. He may have not been the champion, but it felt like a lot of the show, or a good portion of the show, revolved around Cody.
Yep.
And whatever would happen, like, it meant something was going on with Cody. So, like, no matter what would happen, it just depended on what Cody would say sometimes, or what the match, and then everyone go off from that. So, like, Cody was pretty much AEW. He was the main star. So, like, I think now he's kind of like taking that spot in WWE, or he's trying to take that spot because he's a proven commodity now.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's done before. He's main evented pay-per-views already. He's had, like, big time matches, like that match with his brother.
Yeah.
Like, arguably the best match in AEW history. So now he's bringing everything that he took from AEW and he's bringing it to WWE and just going off that momentum.
Main event Cody. Main event Cody. He's ready for the main event of WrestleMania. This is one of the top guys in pro wrestling today, and he is on fire.
It's funny, though.
Yeah?
It's funny because I was just thinking, like, because WWE loves to screw people over. And I'm just like, wouldn't it be, like, poetic in a sense where the finish for WrestleMania is going to be a dusty finish?
Yeah. Where it looks like Cody wins, but actually he doesn't, and Roman walks away with the belt.
I mean, it just, like, to me, it's something WWE would definitely do.
Yeah. I could see that. I could also see Cody just winning.
That too. I mean, to me, I'm leaning towards that right now.
Yeah.
But wait and see. I wouldn't be surprised. WWE loves to screw things over, so especially Montreal. So get ready for that.
All right. Elsewhere on SmackDown tonight, we had the Banger Bros beat Hit Row. Top Dollar didn't even get tagged in. That's where they're at with this guy. He doesn't even get to wrestle.
They're just called the Bangers now, by the way.
Whatever. They're the Banger Bros forever to me. All right.
Yeah.
Lacey Evans beat a jobber with the Cobra Clutch. She refused to release the hold after the bell. I like when they disqualify you for doing that. You can't do that. You should be disqualified.
Well, I believe it's after, like, did they give her a 5 count or something? They usually give them a 5 count, and then, like, we're going to disqualify you if you don't let go in 5 seconds.
It was more than they didn't count. There was no count.
Oh, there was no count? Well, I don't know. Well, because they didn't want to disqualify her, I guess. That's why they didn't count. Like,
yeah, but I think I don't know. If you don't release the hold and the referee and the bell rings, like, disqualified.
yeah, but to be fair, you saw the jobber they had, the enhancement talent. Like, there was no way they were going to put her over. Like, that match was a pure joke beyond belief. Like,
yeah,
they didn't even start off like wrestling and playing with her hair. Like, this is a joke before we even get started. Like, it was really bad. The fact that was like prime time television. Like, we got that match. Like, that's the best you can do. I was very pathetic for WWE.
SmackDown was pretty weak tonight overall, John.
Well, maybe that's good for us, where it's like it's going to be bad now, and then they save all the good stuff for Montreal.
Hope so. Natalya cut an in-ring promo talking about the Chamber, and then talked about Shayna, and says Shayna is a cheap knockoff of Ronda Rousey. And then Shayna comes out, and she's like, I was fighting before Ronda and wrestling before Ronda and signed to the WWE and winning titles before Ronda. And it sounds like Shayna's kind of saying bad things about Ronda. And then Ronda actually comes out, and you're like, oh, is she going to attack Shayna? But no, she just kind of goes to attack Natty, but then Shayna stops her from attacking Natty and clotheslines Natty herself. And then Ronda and Shayna just beat on Natty for a bit. Shotzi comes out, tries to make the save, but she gets taken out too, because, come on. And then Ronda and Shayna just stood there. It's a weird way to bring Ronda back.
I don't know about you, but, like, to me, it must be an absolute headache just looking at this, like, booking, like, Ronda segments, because a lot of them don't seem to make any sense whatsoever. Like, where do they get this where Shayna is just like a knockoff of Ronda? Like, I don't understand where that comes from exactly, but okay. And then Shayna actually has to defend that, and like, oh, she's tired of people saying that. Like, that's actually a thing. And then to make it into a big swerve where it's like, oh, it's gonna be a turn, but no, they attack Natty. It's not gonna work. No one's gonna believe that whatsoever. And the fact that they tried to sell that, like, it just seemed like they had nothing else, and they just like to do the whole thing where, oh, maybe there's friction. No, there's not friction. Just the same thing over and over, and they just beat down the faces. They just left Natty and Shotzi laying. That was disappointing. And, like, Ronda's better than that too. Like, Ronda's one of their top stars. I don't understand why they can't write better segments. They should.
I don't know what they're doing with Ronda. Whoop. Where'd we go?
Oh, I just went gray.
Yeah. I don't know what they're doing with Ronda right now. It's a little weird. I don't know what their plans are for Mania. But apparently it's going to be Ronda and Shayna against Shotzi and Natty next week on SmackDown, which doesn't seem fair because Natty's in the Elimination Chamber on Saturday, and none of the other women are. It was like kind of a tough match for Natty right before the Chamber, but, whatever.
And watch, like, Natty's not even going to win. Natty's in the Premium Live Event match, and they're not even going to win. Doesn't matter because it's Ronda. She's a bigger star. So they're going to win, and they're building them up to become tag team champions. We don't know exactly how it's going to work out, but they're going that direction. And just, like, regardless what happened with Charlotte, we're just going to forget about that and just like, oh, Ronda's back, and she's doing this now, and that's it. You're just going to have to live with it. To me, it's just like they just do whatever Ronda wants. It seems like it doesn't matter if it makes sense. Just, oh, Ronda wants to do this now. Oh, well, we're going to do this.
Yeah, and I don't know. It seems like Ronda and Shayna as a tag team should be going for those tag team titles, but they're heels, and Dakota and Io have been champions for a while. They're also heels. I don't know how that makes sense.
Got to get Becky and Lita as tag champs going into Mania. That's what's got to happen.
Yeah. I think that would be good. It would help. Although, if Shayna and Dakota wrestle each other at Mania, I think they would be the first lesbian couple to face each other at a WrestleMania. Right? They're a couple, Dakota and Shayna. So that would be something. I don't know.
I didn't really think about that, but okay.
I don't know. Might be cool for them.
Sure, but I don't know if they're really thinking about that, though. I think they're just thinking in terms of, like, marquee. I think Becky and Ronda, that should have been a match that happened. I mean, if you only get in a tag, it still works, I think. And get Lita on Mania, that's pretty big bonus, I think.
Yeah, if that's what they're doing. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with Lita. Maybe Lita, Trish, and Becky at the Chamber. Madcap Moss beat Rey Mysterio, Santos Escobar, and Karrion Kross. A top rope elbow drop on Rey for the 1-2-3 and the win for Madcap, who gets an Intercontinental title shot at Gunther next week because of the win. That was the main event of SmackDown. Madcap. Everybody had a lady in their corner except for Rey. Didn't seem fair. Madcap had Emma. Karrion Kross had Scarlett. Santos Escobar had Zelina. Rey was riding solo. Just him and his mask. And Madcap won. But he'll lose to Gunther next week, so whatever.
I think I said Madcap last week because he was the only one who had lost. Yeah, because I looked at the four-way and it looked like he's the only one who hasn't lost. He's not a heel, so it makes sense for him to win. I don't think he should have beat Rey, though, but whatever. It doesn't matter. Rey was the only guy who was over. Like, everyone who came out, no one really cared. When Rey came out, it was the biggest reaction.
Yeah.
So they maybe should rethink how they use Rey in a sense. Like, don't just, like, throw him out there to get destroyed. But regardless.
Join.ringsidereport.net if you want to join the channel. Join.ringsidereport.net. Matthew Henley wants to join. Join.ringsidereport.net. Antoinette is a member. Shout out to Antoinette. I saw Jason Pete as well in the chat. Doug Hepburn, member of the team. Harold Schneider. Shout out to all the members tuning in live here tonight on a Friday night. Just a reminder for everybody, we're not going to be on next Friday because we'll be at SmackDown in the building, so we're not going to be on right after SmackDown. We're not going to be on right after the Elimination Chamber because we'll be in the building for that too. But we will be on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. for a special edition Elimination Chamber WWE in Montreal recap show, big review show, review the Chamber, and then start the look ahead to WrestleMania, which will be the next big event after this. So that'll be coming up next Sunday, the 12th. No, sorry. The 19th. The 12th is this Sunday. And next Sunday, the 19th of whatever this month is, February.
February makes sense.
Whatever. Okay, let's shift gears and go over to AEW Dynamite, which I thought was a fantastic show this week. Some fantastic pro wrestling. It was my favorite pro wrestling show of the week, which it usually is. Dynamite's been great over the past few months, and the wrestling is really what's putting it over the top. And I know that sounds redundant. The wrestling is what makes the wrestling show good, but it's really what it is. It's the in-ring product. It's the talent in the ring and the matches that they're having of some very high quality. They open the show with MJF, the world champion, taking on Konosuke Takeshita. MJF got the win with a Fujiwara armbar, made Konosuke tap. MJF hit the ref after the match, which was a bit shocking, and then hit Takeshita repeatedly with his Dynamite Diamond ring, busted him open pretty bad. Bryan Danielson showed up to chase MJF away, but that was not the last we would see of MJF on the night. MJF did a backflip off the top rope at one point to reverse a clothesline. Like, MJF showed a lot in this match. This was a very good match. And every time I see MJF, he looks more jacked. I don't know if he's on the juice or just working out like crazy, but he looks amazing. I don't care if he's on steroids. I'm not saying he is, but I'm just saying, even if he was on steroids, good for him. He looks fantastic. Looks great, right? He's super jacked. His matches are great. Showing his athleticism. Obviously, he can talk. I don't care if Eddie Kingston doesn't like him in real life. I don't care if Dax Harwood doesn't like him in real life. I don't know MJF in real life, and I don't know Dax Harwood, and I don't know Eddie Kingston. But I've seen them all on TV, and I like MJF more than those guys. No disrespect. I just really like MJF. He's fun. He's fun to watch, you know? You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody in wrestling might hate MJF, like everybody in wrestling might hate CM Punk, but I don't care. Like, Seth Rollins and a bunch of guys might think CM Punk is a jerk, but, like, when I see CM Punk on TV, I like him way more than when I see Seth Rollins on TV, so, you know? I don't really care what your interpersonal relationships are backstage. I just care about what you do when you're on my TV.
So what do you want to address first, the Punk Rollins thing or the MJF, like his performance?
Punk
like,
Rollins we talked about already. We don't need to talk about that anymore.
Okay, good. Well, because I saw Rollins had some more comments, right? I don't know if you saw that. Like,
more?
Another thing they put up.
Jeez.
Yeah, did you see that?
What else could he say?
Well, he kind of like took back some things in the sense where he's like, just like, like it pains him that he has to, say bad things about Punk because he did so much for him, but Punk unfortunately has a bad attitude apparently, according to Seth Rollins, so doesn't do good business with people, and that's the main problem, was because Seth challenged him to WrestleMania like a couple years ago, right? He said, "Fight me" or whatever, Punk. And then Punk, like, made fun of him on Fox or whatever, that show they were doing. And Rollins took that personally and, like, holds a grudge. And, now feels like, Punk, like, doesn't do good business, and, like, hurt him by not doing that. So. But at least he put him over in a sense where he's like, well, he owes him a lot. Still trashes him, though. So I don't know how much that works, but. People don't get along in wrestling. It happens.
Yeah.
As we've seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, MJF.
But
going back to MJF.
There was stuff about MJF this week, right? Eddie Kingston said he really doesn't like MJF, and he said he's a really bad guy. And even Dax Harwood on his podcast was saying some things, kind of tiptoeing around MJF and how much he doesn't like him.
Well, I think one, like, because he was talking, like, Dax was talking about the MJF Jericho, like, dinner
sing-along
thing that they did, yeah. Like, I can understand why he didn't like that. Like, I wasn't huge on that either, if I'm not mistaken, back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I understand. And, like, they worked together, and maybe they had issues. Like, the Pinnacle, like, let's face it, it didn't really work out very well, so I can understand why there may have been some issues. Like, MJF was the leader of that group, so maybe there was some butting heads there on ideas.
Well,
so that's going to happen.
It seems like Dax and MJF do not get along, and MJF seemingly does not get along for real with some people in the company. Some people don't like him, but, whatever. He's fun to watch. I'm not backstage.
I hope your son didn't see that promo.
No, he doesn't watch Dynamite. It's too late. It's past his bedtime.
Well, that's good.
It's too bloody. WWE is safer for the kids, AEW is a little bit more adult.
Except Edge.
Yeah, well, you talking about Edge tapping Beth Phoenix's butt?
But, like, the jail rape jokes,
That'd go over his head, though. He wouldn't really get that. You know what I mean?
Still. Edge
5-year-old doesn't know what goes on.
Edge is still living the Attitude Era, which I understand. Like, he's playing up to those kind of fans, but he's going to let things just fly like that. And He's not censored in a sense.
MJF really lets it fly in his promos. He had blood on his wrist tape. He was backstage talking about the beating that he gave Takeshita. And MJF telling a story about how he got speeding tickets in high school. And he got so many speeding tickets in his Camaro that he drove in high school. So many speeding tickets that if there was one more speeding ticket, he would lose his driver's license. So MJF talks about taking a girl in high school in his car. And he's like, I don't want to name any names. Let's call her Liv. Which was, right?
So intentional.
Right. Why? Because they're both from the Jersey, Long Island area? Like, I don't.
Did you not, like, I saw it. I'm sure you saw it. Like, so many people, like, tweeting to Liv, like, oh my goodness, like, you and MJF, like, I couldn't believe this. Like, you did this with MJF. Like, you didn't see all that stuff?
No.
She got sent a lot of that stuff. I saw, like, a lot of things. Like, yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Pretty bad.
Yeah. So MJF says he took the girl for a ride in his car and he made a little, gesture.
Banana joke?
Yeah, gesture about, her giving him fellatio as he was driving, right?
Like Mike Tyson, yeah.
MJF said 2 words, suck it, and she obliged. It was the Attitude Era. So MJF, I guess it wasn't the Attitude Era. It was after that, because MJF was born in 1996. It was the ruthless aggression era. Things were still wild. Vince was running wild during that era, too. MJF, so he's getting oral sex from this lady in the car. And named Liv, which is not a very common name, and the only person the wrestling fans really know named Liv is Liv Morgan. Or I guess Liv Tyler? I don't know if people still know who she is. MJF says it was raining. It was raining. His car hydroplaned and it hit a telephone pole. And he was hurt. And his passenger was hurt. And she smashed her head on the windshield. She was all bloody. And MJF says at that moment, he took her and he put her in the driver's seat so that the cops would think that she was driving so he wouldn't get another speeding ticket and he wouldn't lose his license. And that's the kind of man that you're dealing with, a man who will stoop to anything to win, to get his way. And Bryan Danielson, you're going to deal with that scumbag, and I'm proud to be a scumbag, and I'm going to take it out on you at the pay-per-view. Hell of a promo. And it was just like, oh, wow, where's he going with this story? And then where he went was just like, wow, goddamn, pal, That's quite a tale. It's pretty dark. Yeah.
Stuff.
I mean, it wasn't. It just helps you believe in MJF being a piece of shit human being. It's not a true story. Although he did tweet out a picture of him in high school with the Camaro. So that's true. There was the car. The car is real. He did have that in high school. Whether or not he got into a horrible crash, I don't think that's true. That part of the story, I think, was for the character. But it was delivered to perfection. This guy is a master.
Well, you talk about promos in wrestling, and like things being, entertaining or not. I mean, regardless if it's real or not, that was definitely entertaining, and it got a lot of people talking. Like, I don't know about you, but like for me, like when I looked at Twitter, that was what people were talking about more than anything. Off any matches, even the tag team thing. That promo was the highlight, I think, for a lot of people on Dynamite.
It was intense. It was intense. It felt like there was some realism to it, for sure. MJF is great, man. You can't say anything bad about him as far as his promo work. Fantastic. Jamie Hayter beat the Bunny. It happened on Dynamite.
Well, and destroyed her too. Like I don't know if you saw that like exploder suplex, or dropped her on her face, and like
Yeah.
I don't know if it broke her face. Apparently, I don't know if he has to get surgery or something, but
Oh, really? It was bad?
I don't know if you. Yeah, it was pretty bad. I watched that over and over again, and
Huh.
like, yeah, it looked rough because like not only did it drop on her face, but like Hater like landed on her too, the back of her head. So
Mm. I did not watch it over and over again. I was trying to just move past the Bunny versus Jamie Hayter because, there's other stuff to watch in this world, and I don't need to spend time on that. Tony Storm and Saraya interviewed backstage by Renee. Saraya says Jamie Hayter is a loser like everyone else in AEW. And they invite Leva Bates into the frame for some reason. And they say, oh, your name starts with an L, and we're going to beat you up. And then they do. And then they spray paint an L on her. I guess Leva Bates still has a job with AEW. The librarian. Okay.
yeah, I don't think she wrestles that much. I think
No.
she's just involved like backstage stuff that she does. I guess I don't know what exactly, but she has some sort of role. Uh, I thought this looked very bad. Just
Mm-hmm.
her Leva's like selling. It looked very like fake. The way like she's like, "Oh no, don't hurt me." Like
Yeah.
it just didn't seem very convincing whatsoever. Like not putting up much of a fight. Um, like the spray painting, the whole there being the NWO. Like, that's what I thought it was gonna be, and like it makes sense, but it just came off kind of corny because if someone's not really put up much of a fight, it doesn't seem like it's much of a threat.
Yep.
It just seems like it's lame,
It
which
wasn't
is
great.
sad because I like Tony Storm and Saraya. I think they're two of the best women wrestlers today, but that didn't look good. The idea was good. The execution could have been better.
The brawl was good
I,
tonight.
th-
That brawl looked
I was
good.
just gonna say that. I was gonna say I think on Rampage they did a better job, but they had
Mm-hmm.
better people to work with too.
Yeah. Then we had the gauntlet match for Ricky Starks. He beat Angelo Parker after a bit of a match. Daddy Magic tried to sneak in and get his match started quick, but Ricky Starks caught him and rolled him up. Not really a match there. And then he had to face Daniel Garcia, who beat Ricky Starks by pinfall after Jericho appeared in the front row with a mask and hit the Judas effect on Starks. So this was all a big ruse from the Jericho Society. Starks had to beat all these guys in order to face Jericho at the end of the gauntlet, but didn't even go there. Daniel Garcia stopped Ricky Starks. So I guess Starks still feuding with this Jericho Society. Does he need backup at this point? He had that Action Andretti guy. He wasn't there this week, Andretti, but it's only 2 guys. The Jericho Society is like 8 guys. I mean, it's not that many, but it's a lot, They got what? 6 guys in that group? Something?
Yeah, I think it's like 8 people, but yeah, you're right, something like
Yeah.
that. So it's enough people, and yeah, Starks needs some help. Also, just to kind of freshen up a bit, like he's wrestled pretty much all of them now, so just to change it up, to add something more to it, because like you can't just keep wrestling them over and over. We need something different. So yeah, a tag partner would be nice, but I'm failing to come up with one right now. Who'd feud with Jericho?
I don't know. There's nobody that really
Maybe
fits with Starks. Darby?
maybe Darby and Sting. Mainly because I just want to see Sting and Jericho finally like have a match of some kind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Starks, he doesn't have friends, really.
Could get the
Just,
Elite. That'd be interesting.
they're busy. They got the trios belts.
Well, that's it. You have Jericho and maybe Guevara and Garcia go against them.
Yeah. Yeah, what's the Elites trios match at the pay-per-view? What do? They need something, right?
Something, yeah, right, yeah.
Who's a top trio in AEW that could go up against them?
Well, I mean, they go up against the House of Black. I think it's always there, but I feel like they might not be doing that yet, though. They might be waiting on that one, I think.
Okay. Bryan Danielson and Takeshita are being interviewed inside a training room by Renee. Bryan has to win his match coming up against Roosh. If he does, he gets the match with MJF at the pay-per-view. If he doesn't, I guess the match is off. Right?
Or he doesn't get the match, yeah.
Okay.
He had to win that match, yeah.
So he's had to win a series of matches, and this was the last one he had to win to get the match with MJF. MJF, or I guess some goons, lock Bryan Danielson in the room that he's in getting interviewed. Right? Who?
Yeah. Hired goons, probably.
Hired goons. And Roosh's music then hits, and Bryan is locked in this room. So the match is going to start, but Bryan can't get there because he's been locked in a room. Roosh comes to the ring for the match. MJF comes out and says since Bryan's not there, the ref should count to 10, count him out, and allow Roosh to win. Bryan is then shown on the big screen breaking through the door, running down to the ring, and making it before the 10 count, which was made slower by MJF barking at ref Aubrey to count faster, called her a bum, so she started counting slower, which enraged MJF, but allowed us to get this match, which was phenomenal. Another great match from Bryan Danielson, the king of pro wrestling, the greatest pro wrestler there is today, maybe the greatest pro wrestler of all time. He's up there. Bryan was bleeding like crazy in this match. He hit the running knee for a 2 count, hit it again after a nice sequence for the win. Tremendous match between Bryan and Roosh. Roosh is so good. To see these two guys go at it in AEW was fantastic. Just great. Great match. MJF came out again. He was on commentary. Hit Danielson with the diamond ring after the match. Applied his Fujiwara armbar. 2 security guards came out, but MJF knocked them off the apron. More security came out to pull MJF off Danielson. And we went to commercial. And when we came back, it wasn't clear if MJF ever got off Bryan Danielson. Because we moved on to other shit. Which I don't love. You know, it's like, MJF's got Bryan Danielson, and he's got him in the armbar. Did he break his arm? Is Danielson okay? What happened? Oh, we went to commercial, and we're just going to forget about it. Okay. But goddamn, that Danielson-Roosh match was tremendous.
Well, for me, that was the match of the show. I don't know about you, but that was the best in terms of drama, in terms of action. And I didn't catch the blade job this time. Like I caught it in the first match. It was kind of like super obvious, which they need to work on. But in this one, I didn't catch Danielson blading because he clearly did a really good job of it on his head. Wow, that was a lot of blood. And it kept going throughout the whole match. And it added to it because it felt like you were feeling for Bryan. You thought he was really hurt. So Roosh did a good job putting a good beat on him. This was easily Roosh's best match in AEW so far.
Oh, yeah.
Without question. So, and this was a good match for Bryan to have. Well, not everyone's going to have the best match.
No, but Bryan's had some great matches on this run.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And it's going to be interesting to see how it all wraps up with the Iron Man match.
Well, the whole story is, MJF can't hang with Bryan Danielson. MJF can't beat Bryan Danielson in a 60-minute match. But, he's gonna. It's his first big title defense. What's the story if MJF can't beat Bryan Danielson in 60 minutes? Well, MJF wasn't really all that good to begin with, and no one could really hang with Bryan, and Bryan is the man. Which is all well and good, but that's not really great for the MJF story. So MJF has to beat Bryan, probably cheat to beat Bryan, but still, he wins at the pay-per-view, right? He can't not win.
Well, here's the thing, too. We've seen Bryan in this situation before. He does a long match. What if this ends in, a tie?
Yeah. That's a pretty weak way to end a pay-per-view, though.
I'm not saying it's a great way to end the pay-per-view. I'm just saying that it's not possible. You can see it happen, or just extend it, because you have
Sudden
Double
death.
or Nothing in May.
Sudden death. If it's a tie at the end of 60 minutes, you got to go to sudden death. Brett Shawn rules.
Is that AEW rules, though? I don't know.
I don't know.
Because we've had Iron Mans before, right?
Have we?
It'll be interesting. Yeah, we've had, I think
60.
Pac and Kenny, not 60. We had 30, I think.
Yeah. It's going to be the first 60-minute Iron Man match in AEW history, which is cool, too. The Elite versus Top Flight. Hey, Bryan and Hangman, did they do 60?
Yeah, but that was a match, though. They went to a draw, if not mistaken, wasn't it? It wasn't Iron Man.
Right, but they did an hour draw, right?
Right.
Which was ridiculously good. I like that AEW allows Bryan Danielson to wrestle for an hour. Because if Bryan Danielson's wrestling for an hour, that's an hour of good programming on your TV show, you know? It's hard to come by.
You can't go wrong. Yeah, you can't go wrong with it.
You can't go wrong with Bryan Danielson in the ring. The whole pay-per-view should just be 6 hours of Bryan Danielson. But, it wouldn't be good for his body. The Elite beat the Top Flight and AR Fox with a crucifix pin to retain the AEW Trios titles. Another excellent match. Excellent stuff. Elite, Top Flight, AR Fox, they all did great. Really good in-ring content on Dynamite this week. Right? That match was good. You like that one?
Yeah, I didn't mind the match. Again, for me, it was just the placement of the match where I'm like, this should have been, if not first, second match on the show. Where I feel like, because then you have the tag match to follow it, and it's like, well, there's no way the tag match can follow this match. It's too much, like they did so much in that match, and there's no way their styles that they could even come close to that. So, to me, it's just the placement of that match took away, for me, the main event a bit.
I didn't have a problem with it. I was a little bit surprised that, after all the big matches we had MJF in action, we had Danielson, we had the Elite, that they were going to close the show with the Ass Boys against the Acclaimed. But once I saw the match and saw the finish, I understood why it closed the show. Ass Boys, the Gun Club, the new AEW Tag Team Champions beating the Acclaimed in the main event this week. Bowens accidentally clotheslined the ref out of the ring. Austin Gunn went for the tag belt. Billy Gunn came out and stopped him from hitting Bowens with it, tossed the belt aside. Colton, Billy's other son, grabs the belt, nails Billy with it. The Acclaimed come back on the Guns, hit their finisher. Caster tries to revive the ref, tossed him into the ring, but it's a 2 count because the ref is halfway unconscious. Bowens gets back in the ring, rolls up Austin for a 2 count again, but the ref is slow on the count. Colton Gunn hits Bowens with the tag team belt behind the ref's back. The ref is like half dead at this point because he got bumped, and he took a hell of a bump, too. He took a clothesline, then he flew out of the ring. It was a good bump from the ref.
I saw. It was good.
Yeah, it was good, right? And so Colton hits Bowens with the tag belt. Austin rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. Ass Boys cheat to win. Ass Boys, new AEW Tag Team Champions. I was seeing a lot of people upset with the finish, upset with, whatever, but made sense to me. Claimed to have been Tag Team Champions for a little bit. They've got themselves over. They got themselves established as one of the top tag teams in AEW. You're trying to establish another team here in the Ass Boys. Ass Boys get tons of heat. They come out, people go crazy. They're booing, they're chanting Ass Boys, So, I liked it. Ass Boys, new tag team champions. You got to do something with these guys. You got to beef up your tag team division. It can't be the Young Bucks all day forever. They're not even in the division really anymore. Not now anyways, right? Like you got to move on. This is the next generation of the tag team division. The Acclaim, the Ass Boys. and others. But I think, it was a screwy finish. We're probably going to see a rematch at the pay-per-view. The Acclaim could win it back there. Easily. This was good stuff. I thought the match was solid. I thought the finish was good. I'm good with the Ass Boys being tag team champions. It's good to move those belts around. I thought it was fine.
Well, I didn't see the outrage that you saw apparently on Twitter or wherever in social media.
People were like, "Oh, it's the worst finish in AEW history. What a terrible main event!" Like I was seeing a lot of outrage, and I was surprised.
Okay, I didn't see that. All I saw was like, that's a surprise. I didn't see that coming. And like, I was surprised by that.
Me too.
Like honestly, I never thought the Guns were going to become tag team champions ever. So. And the fact that they won the tag titles before like other tag teams, like it's very shocking.
Yeah.
But surprises are nice sometimes. Change things up. And to be fair, like they're getting decently over, and like they can have some decent matches. I didn't think it was like them going to the tag team titles, but hey, it works, I guess, for now. And people are saying, oh, now this works out great if FTR comes back, they could feud with them. That could work too. Acclaim also can get a rematch, which more than likely will happen. They can get the belts back. So a lot can happen off this. I mean, it opens up a lot of doors. They have a lot of teams that are very popular, I find, and they can make a lot of teams with just the Guns.
And the Guns now more established, more legitimate.
Yep.
I think it's good, and they're homegrown AEW talent too. That's what you got to do. You got to push your homegrown talent. You can't just push the guys that were in Ring of Honor or WWE or wherever in the past. You got to start making stars that are AEW originals.
That's a good point, yeah.
So,
I think young stars too.
Yeah. The Acclaim, the Guns, these are the types of people that need to be pushed forward. Because in 5-10 years, these are the people that are going to be the heart and soul of your company. So you got to establish these guys. Yeah. I think FTR is good as gone. You hear Dax Harwood's podcast this week. He was asked what his dream matches are for 2023. His number one dream match was Gunther. His tag team dream match was the Usos. It's like, yo, where do you think you're going? He also said that he wants to wrestle Edge and Christian, which I thought was very interesting. And he said that it was more possible than you might think, which I thought was also very interesting. Because Edge ain't going to AEW, but I haven't seen Christian in AEW in a while, which makes me wonder, could he be going back to the WWE to wrestle?
Well, he tore his tricep, though, so, I mean...
Oh, is that why he's not around?
Now. Okay. Yeah, that's why he's not around. So, I mean, he can't do anything. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but how sick would that be to see Edge and Christian to do one more run as a tag team? Because as a single star right now, Edge, I don't know what he really does. Like, I don't know what's super compelling for him right now. But as a tag team with Christian, man, that'd be cool. That'd be a lot of fun. Edge and Christian versus Sami and Kevin. Tag team titles. Backlash.
Well, it's WrestleMania Backlash, but yes.
Well, yeah,
Again, I don't know if Christian would be ready for that, even if he was able to wrestle for WWE. So I don't know with that. Like I feel Edge is just gonna finish off his year this year, and that's gonna be it, I think, for him. Like he's had a very good career when you think about it.
Of course. But wouldn't you like to see one more Edge and Christian run? One last one.
Nah. No, honestly, no, I'm good. We had the whole last Hardy Boys run, last Dudley run, and honestly, the Hardy one was okay. The other one wasn't that good, so you're 50-50 on that one.
Hardy one was okay. Hardy one was okay because it was in AEW a lot of the time, right? And it was pretty decent.
No, it was WWE
too. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but WWE took care of them. The Dudleys' last run in WWE, like they got buried. They weren't treated like stars. It wasn't the Dudleys' fault. It was WWE's booking. I think if they book Edge and Christian correctly, it'd be great.
I mean, I think too is like, what, they're just gonna have a couple matches and they'll be done. I mean, what can you really do with that? That's another thing.
Yeah,
I don't know if you need that, to be honest. Yeah,
Edge and Christian against the Usos.
Yeah, but not a tag run though. That's the problem too. Like, you're gonna be like, oh, they're just gonna lose all the time. I mean, that's all they would do, really. So I don't know if you need them to come back just to lose.
I don't know. I think they could win 1 or 2 matches to make them credible, too. Whatever. It's all hypothetical right now. Okay, Johnny, your next match, when can people see you in the ring? I understand it will also be a tag team match, playa.
It will be. It's going to be also March 5th. Same day as AEW Revolution. So
wow.
Another post show I will not be a part of because I will be wrestling in Laval. So
isn't it an afternoon show?
It is an afternoon show, but wrestling shows can kind of take a while, and I don't expect to be out there. I wasn't out there last time till like 11.
Oh, okay.
So
wow.
Regardless, AEW pay-per-views go long. I still will miss a good chunk of that pay-per-view. So sadly, I will not be there March 5th. But my wrestling comes first.
There you go.
So.
More info on that at North Genesis on his Twitter page. I saw a tweet that went out about the show, so more info and how to get tickets and all of that at North Genesis on Twitter. You can follow me at Dave Simon MMA on all the things, but more importantly, subscribe to this channel, like this video, and leave a comment. We're just a few away from 2,000 subscribers. Please let us get there. Thank you for helping us get there. If you have not subscribed already, please do subscribe. It would be nice to hit 2,000 subscribers. It'd be nice to hit 2 million subscribers too, but, baby steps. And join.ringsidereport.net as well, if you have not already. Join.ringsidereport.net. Support the channel just like Antoinette did tonight. Dropping a super chat as well. Thank you, Antoinette. Harold Schneider, member of the team. He's a super chat leader of the night. Thank you, Harold. Always good seeing Harold in the chat. Jason Pete, Doug Hepburn, shout out to all the members tuning in, supporting the Ringside Report Network. Join.ringsidereport.net if you have not already. Join.ringsidereport.net. And I will be back here tomorrow night with Freddie and AJ for the UFC 284 watch-along. Islam Makhachev taking on Alex Volkanovski in the main event for the UFC lightweight title. Big-time pay-per-view. We're going to be on tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. When the pay-per-view starts, we will start our watch-along right here on the Ringside Report Network. Myself, Freddie, and AJ watching some UFC with you on a Saturday night. And then next Thursday, we'll be back with more MMA talk. But Johnny and I will not be back until after Elimination Chamber. We did the Chamber preview here tonight. We'll be back after the Chamber on Sunday morning. Next Sunday, the 19th of February, a special Sunday edition, Breakfast with the Boys, because we will be attending the SmackDown and Elimination Chamber shows live here in our hometown of Montreal. So we will be on 10 a.m. Sunday to recap all the wrestling of the weekend. Other than that, that's all. And I will see you again tomorrow night for UFC 284 right here on the Ringside Report Network.
Please join in and give your support to Ringside Report Network. We've been providing expert coverage and commentary on both pro wrestling and MMA for over 15 years. Go to ringsidereport.net/support to find out more ways to support the channel.